sino-sino ang mga high-risk individuals para magkaroon po ng cancer, Dr. Christine?
Yung mga high-risk individuals, usually ito yung may mga lahi or ibig sabihin they already have family history. So especially mga first-degree relatives, yung mga kapatid, o kaya yung mga magulang na may history na po ng cancer. Medyo high risk po sila to develop cancer in the future. So another set of population which are high risk, sila yung may mga concomitant infections kasi merong certain infections which could trigger formation ng malignancy or ng tumor cells. For example, yung may mga viral hepatitis, no? So pag sila meron na, dapat napapaskreen na po agad sila kasi mataas ang risk po nila to develop liver cancer. So another infection na common is yung HPV infection. So usually pag may mga infections tulad nito can risk for development of cervical cancer. So another population would be yung mga smokers or yung mga previous smokers kasi talagang smoking has been proven to be carcinogenic, meaning napokos po talaga ng tumor. So maraming cancer ang kinokos po ng smoking such as the head and neck tumors, lung cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer. And then another factor would be yung mga excessive heavy alcohol drinkers po, no? So at risk din po sila to develop gastrointestinal cancers, no, such as the liver and the colon cancers po. And then
Opo.
maliit na population lang naman yung mga tinatawag na immunocompromised, yung mahina na po yung immune system such as yung may mga HIV patients o kaya po yung patients na nag-receive na po ng mga organ transplant na po before.
Okay, mga kasambahay. Napaka-interesting na ating pinag-uusapan patungkol pa rin dito sa National Cancer Awareness Month. Ayan, pinag-uusapan natin ano ba yung mga early signs na dapat ninyo malaman. Now, para doon sa mga may family history ng cancer, ano yung mga dapat nilang unahin? Like for example, unahin ba natin yung screening? Genetic testing ba or lifestyle modification? Alin doon, doktora, ang dapat natin number one priority in the list? Go ahead po, Dr. Christine.
Ang number one priority should always be screening po talaga. Kapag alam mo ng may family history ka, alam mo na for example, yung kapatid mo develop breast cancer, yung mother mo rin has breast cancer, so dapat medyo aggressive tayo na magpa-check up agad kahit wala pa tayong sintomas. So screening talaga yung number one. And then, of course, kahit naman sabi mo magpa-screen ka tapos negative naman yung results, wala namang masama kung magkakaroon tayo ng lifestyle modifications, no? So, ibig sabihin, we'll have a healthy living lifestyle such as eating ng proper diet, more on fruits and vegetables, less on salt, less on processed food. We should have an active lifestyle. And then actually genetic testing among the three comes last, no? Simply because in our country po, we are a resource limited. So meaning hindi po readily accessible yung genetic testing. At the same time, medyo costly din po siya. It is much costly than screening. So, it is better talaga magpa-screen po muna tayo, then lifestyle modification, and then genetic testing.
Okay, now, puntahan natin, Doc. I-follow up ko lang question. Ano po yung recommended screening? Based on age po ba and gender? Sige nga, paliwanag niyo po yan kasi di ba may mga bata din na at early age, may ano na po. Sige, Doc, ano po ang dapat?
Okay. For screening, so first identify natin yung top 3 common cancer sa country natin. So top 1 is the breast cancer, top 2 is lung cancer, and top 3 would be the colon cancer. And the screening methods for breast cancer, it is mammogram. As early as 40 years old, pwede ka na magpa-mammogram. However, this is only applicable for average risk. Ibig sabihin, yung mga walang family history. Kasi once yung top two most common cancer would be the lung cancer, no? At as early as 50 years old, if alam mo na you had a history of smoking or exposure as a secondhand smoke, pwede ka na magpa-screen for lung cancer using CT scan of the lungs. And then the third is the colon cancer po. And as early as 45 years old, pwede ka na pong magpa-screen using colonoscopy. So yung colonoscopy, it's like a tube na will be inserted to you para makita yung entire large intestine mo if meron bang mga bukol na tumubuid doon or wala.
Okay, yan. Eksplenadong eksplenado, mga kasambahay. Maraming salamat. Ano po? Now, sa usapin po ng treatment, gaano kalaking diferensya, gaano kalaking difference ang nagagawa ng early stage diagnosis kumpara doon sa late stage na po, Dr. Christine?
Naku ma'am, napakalaki po talaga ng difference pag na-diagnose ng early. Number one, pag early, kadalasan ang mga bukol yan maliliit pa. So ang tendency, mas less complicated yung mga surgery, no? Mas non-extensive. Therefore, yung recovery mo for that particular surgery, mas mabilis. And then, sumunod, yung chemotherapy mo, or sometimes radiation therapy also, mas magiging konti din yung mga number of regimens or cycles na ibibigay sa'yo. So kung mas konti yung mga treatments mo, yung possible side effects, which is actually kinakatakutan niya ng marami, side effects ng chemotherapy, mas magiging less din siya. And kapag lahat ng treatments mo are less, ang total cost nito, mas less din po siya. As compared with the late stage, where syempre pag late stage, sobrang laki na ng bukol, ang dami na pong bukol all over the body. So usually ang treatment talaga dyan, almost maintenance na eh. Hindi po katulad kapag early stage, limited lang ang treatment mo. For example, pag sinabing 8 sessions, hanggang 8 sessions lang, tapos na. Unlike kapag may mga late stage, talagang maggagamot ka na maintenance. Meron na po tayong mga maintenance chemotherapy para talaga makontrol yung pagdami ng bukol. And of course, ang pinakamalaking advantage ng early stage detection would be the highest overall survival, meaning pwede kang maging cancer-free, no? So pwede ka talagang gumaling sa cancer kapag early stage detection.